Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you all here. Really excited to welcome you to the celebration of McDowell Place. I will only be before you quickly. I just came to warm you up and make sure that you feel welcome. We're so glad to have you. This morning we'll hear from a variety of speakers who represent the village of people that stands behind every community that we develop at Homeport. It's with great pleasure that today I get to invite Mr. Lawrence Harris, one of our very first residents at McDowell Place, to come before you and get us started today. Lawrence?
Thank you. Good morning. I just want to say that I am honored to be the first resident of McDowell Place. And how I arrived here, I'm from the Cleveland area, and I grew up there, primarily living a life and trying to focus on my dreams and aspirations, and came across a myriad of health issues where I became an amputee. And during that recovery, I spent almost a year in a nursing home. And because of that, I lost my home that I was currently staying in. And with that, that was a bit of a struggle because I became homeless. And with that, you need resources and help. The nursing home would not let me go because I had nowhere to dwell. So I decided a year ago to move to Columbus and stay with some family members. And when that wasn't feasible, then I ended up moving into an extended stay. And for 6 months, I used every resource that I had until I ran out. And right before I was about to be put out of the hotel, I decided to call our state senator, Herschel Craig's office. And I was invited to a forum on housing. And while I was there, I was introduced to Leah Evans. And she introduced me to Homeport and told me all the information that I needed. And I got with the property manager, Kyle Bishop, and he got the ball rolling for me. And he had one handicap accessible unit available. And he told me if I did what I needed to do, he'd see about getting me in there. And I ran. No pun intended. I got myself in order and got necessary paperwork together. And here I am. I was the very first person to move in, and I'm so grateful for Homeport providing an outlet for people with all types of different disabilities and aspects or situations in life. They have regular apartment buildings, senior living complexes, and they have residential. So with that, they can cover the whole gambit of the city of Columbus, which is one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. And we need those type of businesses and organizations around because people need help, resources, and they don't have them. So I'm just so grateful for everyone that played their part in the company, that directed and basically instrumental in getting me a quality place to dwell and lay my head. And so I thank you.
Places like Homeport, I don't know anyone who's been around Franklinton for a number of years because I've been around for a long time. The late Carol Stewart, I remember when I used to meet with her many years ago, and one of her biggest concerns was that as Franklinton is developed, is that we have housing for all people. and particularly for affordable housing and for folks who need it that may have some other abilities that makes it difficult for them to be in other types of housing. So I know that we haven't, she's shining down with a smile today to see this project because it's really keeping in with her vision for Franklinton was to have housing that was affordable as well as any kind of market rate housing. I was also asked to say, why did I join Homeport? And again, I've been around a long time. And community development is kind of my blood. My day job is I am the Community Impact Territory Manager for Fifth Third Bank, which means I cover all of Ohio for community development. And having been around this organization from the time it was a CHP and was on the first Toto board, it's very clear to me that as the organization has progressed, that the mission has really been refined into being what it should be, and that is to help people that need the help the most, but also to be a good neighbor in neighborhoods, which is, again, essential for me. That's one of my priorities, and that's what I love about Homeport. And Leah off and running and taking this organization to new heights. So I'm very proud to be a board member. And I see, again, McDowell Place is fitting into that, fitting into making sure that it's neighborhood friendly, but it's also providing valuable housing for those communities. And the importance of investments like this for financial institutions, for Fifth Third, Huntington, is that we want to make sure that we're part of the neighborhood fabric as well, that we are making sure we're part of financing projects that are going to help the neighborhood, most importantly, help people. And so that's one of the reasons why I got into this field. It's one of the reasons why I continue in this, and again, it's one of the reasons why I'm honored to be part of Homeport. So with that, I'm going to turn it over and introduce you to Congressman Kerry.
Thank you so much, and really get comfortable because they told me I had 45 minutes. But I see my old boss out here, and it's not often that you get to be able to speak in front of somebody that used to tell you what to do all the time. Larry Price, great to see you today, brother. So listen, I'm happy to be here, and for those of you who don't know the great history of Franklinton, man, it's pretty special. There would not be a Columbus, Ohio without Franklinton, Ohio. I mean, because it started off Marietta, Northwest Territory, then the capital moved to Chillicothe, then to Zanesville for a couple of years, but it was the people here in Franklinton that decided that maybe they should build the capital in the center of the state. So it was the people here in this place that built the city of Columbus. So I'm so happy to be here with you on this wonderful occasion for the community. Before I begin, I do want to thank Laverne Price and the rest of the team at Homeport for your tireless work to make this event in McDowell Place a reality. Like so many of you here today, I'm proud to call Columbus home. I live in German Village, and we have a great city. I mean, that's why we're the fastest growing city in the country, folks. I mean, we've got a great zoo. We've got a great arts community. We have employment. We have opportunities. It is exciting to be part of this city. And you look at the neighborhoods that we have dotted throughout the city. That's why we have so many people coming in here, because they love what they see. So it's an amazing place to raise your family. It's an amazing place to raise your children. But unfortunately, we have seen over the last few years skyrocketing prices for housing. And the cost of raising a family here is going up. We know that. I mean, I got a 22-year-old who just made me a grandfather about 4 weeks ago. And I can tell you, he knows how high interest rates and how that's affecting them. But unaffordable housing erodes our city's future. So pricing families out of homes that they can grow in, places where cribs, like my son, bunk beds, we just need to make sure that Columbus has the next generation of people, and that's why I'm so proud to be here today. That's why McDowell Place is so special. It is housing that will provide families a place where they can thrive. And I'm also working in Congress very hard with my dear friend Joyce Beatty, who I know would love to be here today. And if you don't know, folks, if you look at the city of Columbus, just cut it in half. Joyce has one side, I have another, and normally that's why Joyce and I are always together. And she does a wonderful job in Congress, and I know she'd be very supportive of this project as well. But it's why I'm working hard in Congress. Earlier this year, we worked with the House Ways and Means Committee to secure expansion for the low-income housing tax credit. We also reached across the aisle to introduce bipartisan, bicameral Workforce Housing Tax Credit Act. This bill will increase the supply of housing that's available to folks in our communities. Along with the groups on the ground like Homeport, we're working together to keep the American dream alive for families across Ohio. So, I'm nobody special. You guys are the special ones. Thank you for inviting me. I see my friend Herschel Craig here, Senator. He does a lot of great work in the city of Columbus at the State House. But I want you to let you know that everybody that whether it's Democrats, Republicans, we have a wonderful working relationship, and we know that affordable housing is the way to go for the state of Ohio, but also for our wonderful city that we call home, Columbus, Ohio. Thank you so much. God bless. Now, before I forget, because I'm supposed to introduce the next speaker. So I am the City of Columbus Deputy Director, Aaron Possum. Did I get that right? I did. There you go.
Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it. And just really happy to be here this morning with Homeport and all the partners celebrating the opening of McDowell Place. We're not just here to celebrate the opening of the building, but an opening for new opportunities for a lot of families in our city. The project represents the innovation, creativity, and incredible partnerships that it takes to build affordable housing in the city's most high-demand neighborhoods. Columbus is changing, as the Congressman mentioned. As new families and people move into our city and we don't keep up with that housing supply, we continue to see those housing costs rise. That's true across our region, but it's most acutely true in these high-demand places close to opportunities, to jobs and transit and downtown. And then the access to those opportunities gets very limited for a lot of families. While efforts like Zone In and LinkUs are underway to better support our growth and sufficient housing and increase mobility options and expand the access to those opportunities, we also have to address the immediate need, ensuring access for people into these neighborhoods and access to these opportunities. It is the case as a lot of cities grow, that they grow economically, but they also segregate economically. And we want to see that different future here in Central Ohio and in Columbus. And a key tenet of Mayor Ginther's Columbus housing strategy is include projects like the ability to invest in projects like McDowell Place, which support that economic inclusion and diversity in our neighborhoods, so that we have options open to all our residents, regardless of income, to live in these great neighborhoods. Because we're focused not only on providing affordable housing for our residents, but also ensuring that the housing is located in places they can access those transit, jobs, and neighborhood amenities. Building affordable housing in these neighborhoods is key to creating the more inclusive and diverse city. Affordable housing is not just about access to a unit, it's about the access to that opportunity. And where we build them is just as important as what we build. The partnerships, resources, and innovation I'm looking at, I see 3 different parts of just the city of Columbus that were involved in this program. And I think about all the other partners that had to come together and all the ways in which it was really hard to get this project across the finish line. But it becomes the model, right? It becomes the way we move forward and how we look at opportunities in these neighborhoods to include affordability. And making that a really high priority for all of us as we do this work. We want to ensure access to all these neighborhoods regardless of what income you have. So in closing, just want to thank everybody that did come together and contributed to this incredible achievement, and really set the bar for how we look at these projects and the creativity and innovation that we bring to these projects to ensure that there's access for all our neighbors into these great neighborhoods like Franklinton. Thank you. And I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Sean Smith, the Executive Director of the Ohio Housing Finance Agency.
Good morning. Well, if you're not familiar with OFA, the Ohio Housing Finance Agency, we're a state agency who have various types of resources we use to facilitate the construction, production of affordable housing across the state of Ohio. On our end, a lot of it's very abstract. We get applications in, we get the drawings, architectural drawings, designs, and that's why I love coming to these events, because we see it all now come to fruition. Through the hard work of Leah and Homeport, their team, they actually take those resources and make it into something that's going to help serve individuals across Franklinton, the city of Columbus, and it's just going to be a beautiful property and serve folks for generations to come. So I want to recognize Leah, the Homeport team, all the hard work you guys put into this to actually make it happen. So next up, I've got Craig Gunther, Vice President of RBC Community Investments.
Thank you, Sean. Good morning, all. Hello and welcome. I am Craig Gunther, Development Risk Manager with RBC Community Investments. We at RBC are just so very grateful. Thank you, Homeport. It's been an honor and a privilege to partner with you. Homeport team, excellent work here across the board with McDowell Place. Just a spectacular looking building. Looking forward to seeing the inside of it. We understand at RBC, we're just one of many collaborators to help make places like McDowell Place possible. So if you named all the names and folks involved here and otherwise, it would take a long time. So congratulations to all for this accomplishment. Briefly, for those who are not familiar, RBC Community Investments is in large part a tax credit syndicator. We take the low-income housing tax credit, monetize it for properties like McDowell Place so that affordable rents can be achieved for Homeport and others. So forgive me, I'm a construction guy, and I want to call out one of the collaborators here. They're not on the agenda, but I want to give a special shout out to Rockford Homes. Rockford, you are a longtime partner with Homeport. We understand that. And on McDowell Place, great work here. It's just a spectacular looking building, like I say. And coming from my vantage point as a construction risk guy, Homeport, you did so well to bring the development through in this marketplace, in these days, in this time, and the timeline that you did through to completion. Many of you have seen the TV series Stranger Things. So I love that TV show. There's this group of kids who come across an alternate reality. They stumble across it. It's called the Upside Down. That's what they name it. And things in that parallel world are dark and scary. Families who are already pressed by economic forces are similar. I feel like it seems to me that we live in a kind of upside down. Those families have a tough time. Like I say, there are disparities, economic forces that just pressure those in difficult situations. So, every day they come across monsters. I feel like, the increased costs and limited pathways to achieve are just stresses for those folks. And Homeport, your work, your world, your way is different. You do things differently. You include those folks first. And it's not, I understand that you're in the business of affordable housing. It's just the way that you do it, the spirit that you bring. It's so incredible. You're like 11 in Stranger Things, knocking down the monsters. So congrats. Thank you for including RBC. Great work. And Daphne with Huntington.
I may be one of the only people in here who has not watched Stranger Things, so I don't know the reference. Google it. Okay. Well, I'm proud to be here and represent Huntington today. I am Daphne McKinney with our community development team. At Huntington, our mantra is to look out for people. We think about that mindset in everything that we do, whether it's business dealings or community involvement. We are dedicated to helping to improve our communities by providing financing for high-impact communities and development projects, like our partnership here with Homeport. This is why we're excited at Huntington to join in and support Homeport with the McDowell Place. I think of, not Stranger Things, but when I think of McDowell, I think of Coming to America and McDowell's. We recognize for many Americans having access to quality, affordable housing can be a bit of a challenge. Creating affordable housing is a national imperative, and we see this trend growing across our 11-state footprint. We are excited to continue to find innovative ways to provide quality housing options at an affordable price here in Columbus and in other cities around the country. McDowell Homes is a perfect example of how we can help to address this challenge, and Huntington is proud to help partner with the outstanding institutions that are represented here today. So thank you. Next, I am going to introduce Anthony Forte from Fieldhouse, Director of U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you very much, Ms. Daphne. And good morning, hello, salutations and greetings to all that are here, as well as kudos to all of our dignitaries, and I say both the elected as well as the appointed public officials that are here. This is a tremendous occasion for us to gather together, and I don't know how many of you are really familiar with this space here, but this is exciting, this is invigorating, this is a lot of energy for this Idea Foundry. And I just want you to put your hands together, because for their staff to be here and for this, to host this event is just tremendous. And if you didn't get an opportunity, please take an opportunity to really just look around and to enjoy this. Whether Stranger Things or McDowell, Franklinton is obviously one of the most important areas of the greater Columbus area. And as Representative has mentioned, for the history of it, including actually one of the oldest settlements in Ohio, and for our capital, I can remember when the open shelter was here. I can remember when, it didn't look as nice as all the investment that's going on right now. When the late John Thompson had his church for Greater Christ Temple right down the street here on McDowell Avenue. This is an area that has gone through a lot of transition. And for us to stand in this area today and to see the level of investment and energy and the positive vibes that are going on tells you the power of collaboration, power of partnership, and the power of passionate individuals coming together to make a difference. My name is Anthony Forte, and I serve as the Field Office Director for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And our mission is to create and build strong, sustainable, and inclusive communities and quality homes for all. And not just houses, but homes, because homes is where jobs go at night. I didn't make that up, someone else did, and it's profound enough for us to remember and for us to continue to spread that word, because quality homes and affordable homes is something that we need so much more of. For the $12.6 million that was spent here, if you look at the back of your flyer, you see all of those partners, and there's many more that's part of what it takes to lift the community up. And so I congratulate not only Homeport, but all of the partners that are part of making this happen for our tremendous community. And I say thank you. 50 apartments, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, and that's not just units, that's families. And when you begin to impact families, you impact legacy and generations. And so to Mr. Harris, our first resident, he starts something that will be able to perpetuate and to continue to impact others. And so not only is it congratulations for the money spent, the partnerships developed, but the units that are brought to market for this type of a project. And it's another example of the high quality products that Homeport has a history of making all over our community. If you don't know Homeport, then your life is not as rich as it can be, because Homeport is making a difference, and they've made a difference for almost 4 generations now. I would tell you that it's time to party. So we're gonna leave here and we're gonna go to another location. There's all kind of parties going on right now, but it's time to party because the work has been done, and it's time to reward and to recognize. And with that, my job is also to introduce to you the extraordinary and one of the top leaders of our greater Columbus area that's being recognized by everyone, not just here for her salutations, y'all, but in all the other places and spaces that Homeport has a footprint, Miss Leah Evans. Let's greet her.
You've heard from the best. I am just the rest. But I want to take a moment. You guys are going to forgive me because I'm going to give a few moments to Senator Craig. I'm going to tell you a little story. So I met Mr. Harris at a housing fair that Senator Craig and Senator Reynolds hosted. So as he shared, he brought him to that fair. We met, we talked for all of 7-8 minutes, maybe 10 at the most, and he followed up and is now one of the tips. Who knew when, how, where you're touching someone's life and you're making a difference? It all matters, and he exemplifies that. So I want to invite him to the mic to share his thoughts and reflections on this full circle moment of why it matters that he and Representative Carey do the work that they do in the policy making and in the hard spaces and the hard rooms. They're getting buy-in in order to make these kind of investments that benefit gentlemen like Mr. Harris every day.
You will do me a great honor by saluting this great, erudite woman. Would you stand on your feet and honor me this morning for all the work that she is doing? You all can do better than that. You can do better than that. I have you do that because leadership matters. And certainly the vision of Homeport, and I've been near it and around it for a long time. And I would just say to you unequivocally and without hesitation, the work that they're doing to transform lives, Congressman Carey, my good friend, is real. And we're deeply grateful for that because there's more than bricks and sticks. Today, those 50 families have already been well said, articulated said. But that tension in the State House, trying to find a way. We talk about it. We've been all over the state, the bipartisan committee, the Housing Select Committee, talking about how we can find housing, ensure that there's housing for families, no matter what their zip code is. Both urban, rural, we were in rural part of the state and found that there were families living in cars and children dropping out of high school, and that's not okay. And so today is a marked event to tell you that, and I can share with this, it can happen. We can do this. All of our families and children deserve it. And so I'm so deeply honored to be here and serve for you. God bless you. We happen to be a part of it. It's more than just talking and pontificating. We've got work to do. And so as Columbus continues to grow exponentially, and we know it's going to grow by 1 million people, but every one of those persons, every one of those families can and deserve to have a safe and affordable housing. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
A little housekeeping to do. So first, I want to thank our Homeport board members. If you're a Homeport board member, please raise your hands. They're here in the audience with us, sharing their time. And then they are volunteers, and they spend numerous hours with us every year, providing the great leadership and oversight and governance that we need to do the work that we do every day. Number two, if you are a Homeport staff member, go ahead and put that hand up. Thank you so much to our Homeport team. They do the work. I get to be here in front of you, but they do the work every day to make these things happen, and I'm going to embarrass one of them right now. I want to thank Angela Cradle. She's over here on the side. Angela is a member of our real estate development team. She's been with Homeport for many years, but she is newer to the role of project manager. This is her very first multifamily building that she saw all the way through completion. I want to thank her for her time, her dedication, her energy, her passion. Thank you, Angela. It's with immense pride that I stand before you today to celebrate the grand opening of McDowell. And as we gather here, we've heard about the great history of Franklinton, but the promise that McDowell brings is to see the embodiment of creating and preserving housing affordability in every neighborhood in Columbus. I want to acknowledge that Franklinton is witnessing an unprecedented wave of investment and renaissance. It brings new energy and new opportunities, but it's a story we know too well, where neighborhoods get revitalized, yet the very people who live there long term are now pushed out and priced out. Their memories and legacies overshadowed by the march of progress. The location of McDowell was chosen with the utmost care in considering the walkability, the transit options, and local resources that Franklinton offered. It is designed with intention, with energy-efficient architecture, on-site amenities, and robust resident services as some of the features of being a resident of McDowell. We're not just providing places to live, but a community that supports the individual's growth and well-being. And we understand that the true measure of our success is not just when buildings rise, but when lives flourish within them. It's more than a structure, it's a commitment to ensure that as Franklinton grows, it does inclusively with an eye towards diversity and having a home for everyone. We believe that development should lift all boats. That is why McDowell is not just a triumph of architectural design, but a triumph of our values and our vision. It stands as a testament to the very real opportunity we have to find both progress and affordability, growth and equity. We don't have to choose, we can have it all. McDowell represents an opportunity as our city continues to create spaces for families to thrive without the fear of being left behind. Spaces where the richness of the community's tapestry is preserved and every thread, old and new, adds to the strength and beauty of the whole. As we celebrate today, let us all continue to commit to a vision of a Franklinton for all, a neighborhood where the roots of the past nourish the growth of the future. I want to take a moment and reflect that this development is well over almost 5 years in the making. I see a lot of our partners in the room, and I just want to go through thanking some of them. I want to thank the team at the city. As Aaron said, we worked with every department the city has to bring this project to life. So I want to thank, I see Rita Paris from the Department of Development. I see Lucy from Grants Management. I see John from Land Banks. We're here because they all bought in on what we were trying to do with this project. So the site at McDowell, it has a history. And so again, Franklinton, every site in Franklinton has a history. But the site had been in the land bank for numerous years, and it didn't have a clear redevelopment path. And so as we embarked on doing development, we engaged in a lot of community conversations. So I do want to thank the East Franklinton Review Board and the Franklinton Area Commission for being a part of this journey of helping us co-create a development that embraced the rich history of the community, but also allowed an opportunity for new housing opportunities to come online. I want to thank Sean and the team at OFA. He didn't go deep on it, but the reason that we were able to do this development is because OFA had a special set aside of tax credits that were designed to advance fair housing, but they targeted them to be in neighborhoods where there were high appreciation, rents were going up at a scale that wasn't keeping pace, and where market rate housing was being developed, but affordable housing wasn't being developed alongside it. And so with those resources, so the work that Representative Carey does to make sure that these tax credits are present, with those resources, our project and 2 other developments got done in Franklinton to preserve affordability in a community that at that time when we put this together in 2019, they were building at a 4-to-1 ratio of market rate apartments to affordable. So again, as this community was growing and seeing a lot of investment, the affordability piece wasn't keeping up. And so this was an opportunity that they took to really programmatically say, we see a need and we're gonna put those funds where we can do the most good. So thank you for Sean for that vision and for that opportunity. I also want to thank the team at Kaufman Development. You'll get to see when you go over at McDowell, there are no parking spaces on that site. We built to the whole thing is on the whole site. There are 4 in the back, but you get my point. The parking for the residents is actually across the street in a parking garage that was developed with that Kaufman developed in partnership with the city of Columbus, and it's going to provide the parking for our residents at McDowell. Again, thinking of transit opportunities, thinking of walkability, thinking that we value people more than cars. And so the city really worked with us so that we weren't going to be beholden to having parking on site. We were able to maximize the site, get 50 apartments, and share parking just across the street, very accessible. They could easily able to get there, but not necessarily having to be on site, increasing the cost of development and having us to have to sacrifice apartments for parking spaces. So I want to thank the team at Kaufman for their partnership with us and being able to do this and bring it together. I also want to celebrate Craig. Thank you for shouting out Rockford. As you said, they've been a long-term partner of ours. We've done a lot of development work with them, but they came to the table. Again, this project was about 2.5 years behind when we thought we would start building it. So for them to really work with us to get the budget right, to get the finishes right, to get the timing right on what we could deliver when was really a labor of love, and we thank the Rockford team. I see the Columbus Design Company. Eric's been with us from the beginning. He was at all those meetings with us at the review board, so I want to thank you and your team. He's our architect, the brilliant mind behind the design of the building that you'll get to see. I want to thank him for his contributions to our work. I know my list is getting longer and longer and longer. Of course, I can't go without that moment of gratitude. Don't think that what you do doesn't matter. Each of you has played a part in the success of this building, and as I shared with one of the residents, we're only here because they've chosen to live with us. So we're here to do that. If we don't do anything else, that's what we're here to do, and all of you contributed to us being able to do that. So I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of our Homeport journey. As we continue to push forward, as you said, we're at 1987. The world was very different in 1987 when we started, when Columbus Neighborhood Partnership started. And through that evolution, almost 40 years later, we're still doing this good work. McDowell is just the latest chapter in our collective story. We write this story together with you and with every individual and family that lives with us. Thank you for being a part of it. Today we celebrate not just the opening of the building, but the opening of new opportunities, new beginnings, and a brighter future for all who will call McDowell Place home. So thank you all. We're gonna go across the street to the actual building. We're gonna take a picture, and we're gonna celebrate. So hopefully y'all can hang with us. We have refreshments, we have beverages. I know it's gonna be a little warm out there, and we're gonna take a picture in the bright, bright sun. So please hang out, join us over across the street, and come and see a unit. We have units available for tour. We'd love for you to walk through the building and see. We did capture some historical pieces from the former church that was on site that we've celebrated in the foyer of the building. We want you to see that, and we'd love to just share with you more of the story of McDowell and its residents. So thank you all.